Okay, so it seems like recently there's been a little bit of a situation going on with a certain VTuber agency run by Brave Group, who have essentially been going after some artists making certain kinds of art and profiting off of it, which I think is very, very interesting. It's an interesting discussion because there's going to be many people that are upset at this, many people that think, that's fair enough, and there's also going to be people in the middle, right? And I think this is one of these situations where yeah, I'm pretty in the middle here because again, VSpo, if you don't know, obviously they started up around about 2019ish, and of course, are run by Brave Group. But essentially, they've been taking action, as you can see with this post from Rima, essentially saying Brave Group, the company behind the all-female VTuber agency VSpo, announced an out-of-court settlement with an individual accused of creating and profiting from paywalled or sold NSFW illustrations of VSpo talent. So they were creating spicy art of talent, right? So again, of course, that is a very, I think that is a common thing, especially with VTubers, right? I think you guys have seen the huge amount of spicy art that goes around, and it usually depends on the agency and the kind of people behind it, whether this is okay or not. Most VTubers are okay with it. Most VTubers don't mind having it made or having it shared or whatever, or even people profiting off of it, because of course they like to support the artists and the community. But obviously as well, there is the case of maybe the talents for VSpo do not want this to happen to them, and this is more so like the company protecting the image of their talents. So obviously, they say the person admitted to distributing the content via platforms like X, Pixiv, Discord, and Patreon, and VSpo has a policy against spicy fan art of their talents, as well as monetizing that kind of content. So yeah, it seems like they have already had a policy against it, so they probably should have known that it was bad to do, right? I think, like, of course, if they're going after you and they never said anything before, I think that would be pretty outrageous. But obviously, it seems like they already had a policy there, and the person didn't read it, or the person ignored it, or whatever. And of course, now they're having the action taken against them. They say Brave Group demanded the deletion of the NSFW works and required the person to stop making future content that includes certain depictions that infringes copyright or defames the talent. They say the company sought 10 million JPY, which is 65,000 in damages, but included a waiver that reduced it to only 4 million, which is 26,000 USD, if paid immediately. And again, that is a huge amount of money for creating some artwork. It's like, damn, okay, maybe they should have done that, right? Obviously, they say Brave Group said the waiver was added after determining the person showed sincere remorse and cooperated by disclosing their earnings. The settlement amount reportedly exceeded the person's total sales revenue. This is similar to another case which apparently happened in January 2025, where they sued a Dojin artist for the same reason. Obviously, they create similar content as well. They say, however, the person was asked to pay 20 million JPY, which is 130,000 in damages, with the majority being waived if 2.5 million was paid immediately. So it seems like, yeah, they've got a system, behind this. It seems like they've kind of done this before. This ain't their first rodeo in terms of, going after people creating this kind of content about their talent. And then obviously they say, in addition, the company is currently seeking damages for multiple cases of copyright infringement involving explicit illustrations, and is also pursuing multiple lawsuits and negotiations against posters, website operators, internet service providers, and platform providers for defamatory or libelous content. So again, of course, they seem to be taking a lot of action against a lot of people, and I think fair enough. I think that is fair enough if they have the kind of policies and stuff put in place there. Now, of course, as I said, there's probably going to be some people out there that are mad and that are not very happy that they're doing this, because of course nobody likes to see a company going around and suing people, filing damages and things against people, which again can be pretty worrying, right? I guess at least for some people in the community, especially for artists that just want to create normal art, that think, well, am I even allowed to create art? Like, is it okay? And I'm pretty sure it is okay. But I think the main thing that they dislike is the spicy art, which of course can end up being a little bit of a problem for them, right? And obviously a lot of people saying, this is why I can't get this Rule 34, curse you, Sony. They said this is for VSpo. I'm not sure what the TOS is for V4 Mirai. I say I might be okay with this if it were the talents feeling uncomfortable with being associated with this content. But this feels more like corpos throwing their weight around. And obviously Remo responds with, allegedly, some of them are not comfortable with it. So again, that makes a lot of sense if they're not comfortable with it. And there is also a policy already out there saying that you cannot do this, then maybe don't do it, right? And I think that is the kind of moral of the story there. I think, you know, if they already had a policy, I think they're well within their rights to, you know, kind of take action against it, because that is something that they wanted to prevent, right? Obviously, if you said, I understand, wanted to protect your talent's image, but this feels like a waste of resources. You can't stop people from making spicy art, especially not on the internet, which again, I think is true, but I think there is also, you know, certain actions that they can take to, I guess, prevent it from happening. Because again, I don't think it should happen. I think people should be free to do whatever they want. But again, this is just something that they have there. And obviously, people said VSpo is in a hot zone of litigation risk for just one dumb reason. Thankfully, there are other agencies in Brave that are more merciful to artists and cultured folk. Support those instead and leave this place alone. Say this is somewhat strange because I'm not certain how this benefits the company. Spicy art being made by third parties hasn't stopped other agencies from securing sponsorships and partners. I guess they get the settlement money, but I question whether it's worth the trouble. And of course, that is a very interesting comment as well. Yeah, I think that it is interesting to see that, hey, you know, is this really affecting their sponsors? I think one of the big reasons why they do it is because either it's because of the sponsors or because of the, you know, talent being uncomfortable and multiple things as well. But if it is sponsors, it doesn't really make sense, because usually this kind of art, you know, is something that kind of boosts the popularity of the kind of agency, right? That is something that's something good that you want. You want people to be making this art because people will go, oh, wait, which VTuber is that? And they'll be like, oh, is this one from, you know, VSpo? And they'll be like, oh, okay, great, I'll go check them out. And then obviously it will lead them on to go checking them out. But of course, that kind of doesn't happen anymore if none of that is taking place. So again, I do think it is a missed opportunity at getting some kind of promotions. But of course, that is how VSpo want to run it their way. So, you know, that's what they got to do, right? People said, here we go, more black companies rise to the front and Brave Group keeps digging their own graves. Obviously, a lot of people responding saying the company forced someone who's profiting off the IP to stop. How is that all like a black company? Said they're pointlessly trying to pull some nonsense. Which again, I think they're like well within their right to do whatever they want, right? I think, you know, as I said, there's going to be very mixed opinions in terms of this kind of announcement and what is going on with it. But I think, you know, if they already had a policy there, if they already had like a guideline in terms of, hey, don't do this stuff, right? Please don't do this stuff. And someone does that stuff, you know, I think they're pretty justified in taking action. Now, of course, if it was just random and they never said, oh, hey, we don't like spicy art, by the way, like, please don't do that. No, sorry. If they never said that kind of stuff, then of course, maybe someone, you know, might make it and be surprised to receive such like a heavy kind of, you know, fine and whatever and damages. Then of course, I think that would be a reason to be kind of outraged or whatever. But I think before, you know, I think in this situation, it's kind of been warned beforehand. They've kind of like given you the warning, like, hey, don't do this. You know, we're gonna, you know, do this to you if you do this, right? And of course, that is, you know, what they want. And yeah, sure, you can like disagree with that. You can think it's a bad company decision, but they did mention it beforehand, which I think is the main thing. And of course, you know, lots of people have been commenting on this on the original post as well. A lot of Japanese people say, great job, team. So again, lots of people very thankful, especially in the JP space. Thank you for your kind assistance. So yeah, it seems like people are pretty positive about this one, saying, thank you for your response. We can kindly ask for your continued efforts in creating an environment where all members can enjoy streaming with peace of mind. So they seem to be pretty positive, right? Especially, you know, the actual fans of VSpo. It seems to be a pretty positive outcome to this kind of message. And I think that, you know, if the fans are happy over there, then I think that's fine, right? And I think that is honestly something that, you know, a lot of people will be looking at. But I think, you know, as I said, they're well within their right to take action if they wanted to, and it seems like they did. So yeah, I mean, that is essentially all there is for the situation. I just kind of wanted to, you know, cover that because I thought it was a very interesting situation, because we don't see this very often, especially over with Western companies, the ones that are left at least. And I think it is very interesting to see that kind of stuff happen in any kind of company to do with VTubers. But yeah, obviously that is what they're doing, and that is what's going on. So if you're thinking of making spicy artwork for VSpo members, don't. Else you're gonna get a lot of you know, money in damages sent your way, which I think obviously yeah, will not be good. But yeah, as I said, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameStop, use my code Kazza, get 10% off. Again, they got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.